So I decided to make the switch from Sony full frame to Fujifilm. Let's talk about it. How you doing, guys and girls? Hope you're having a great time wherever you are in the world. So I've decided to sell my full frame Sony a7 III, my 35mm f1.4 from Sigma, and move myself over to a Fujifilm. The Fujifilm I've decided to go for is the X100VI, X100VI, X100, VI, whatever you want to call it. I put my pre-order in. First thing, as soon as they released it and pre-orders opened, I put my pre-order in and I still haven't got it. So in the past, I have had Fujifilm cameras before. I've had a lot of cameras before. I will put some of them up here as I'm talking. I'm sure they'll be kind of dotted around. I'll get some pictures and put them around. I've tried pretty much everything that's out there. I've tried Micro Four Thirds, I've tried APS-C cameras, I've tried full frames, and I've tried all the brands you can think of. Canon, Nikon, Panasonic, Sony, obviously. I've tried all the big boys and a couple of the little boys. And finally settling on a Sony system. I love my Sony cameras. I really, really do. Sony cameras for me, especially the a7 IV, is probably the best value for money workhorse solid camera that you can buy right now. If you want to buy a full frame camera and you want it to never miss autofocus, never let you down, and you basically want something which will work and work and work all day and give you stunning images and give your clients stunning images and just never let you down, buy yourself a Sony a7 IV. They are phenomenal. So if your budget doesn't stretch that far, the Sony a7 III is amazing as well. But anyway, there is a little bit of a problem with the Sonys, and something that happened 3.5 weeks ago really did give me that kick up the arse and made me decide to finally take the plunge, get rid of my Sony a7 III, the Sigma 35mm f1.4. It's a beautiful lens. If you haven't got to go and buy it, it's great. And made me get rid of them and made me switch over and purchase the Fujifilm X100VI. So issue number one, I have got hard drives everywhere, terabytes and terabytes of images of a family, events, my children growing up. I've got my hard drives absolutely everywhere and I do nothing with them. The reason I do nothing with them and I don't get them printed and I don't put them in books and they're not out and about in the house is because I don't have the time to edit them. It takes absolutely hours and hours and hours to edit things. And when you're at a family event, you're taking a few hundred images, or you go to the zoo with the kids and you take a few hundred images there. Before you know it, you've got like 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 images to go through to try and cull, edit, save, and then send to the printers or print out yourself at home. And I just don't have the time to do that. And I needed a camera that I could take a photograph and the JPEG be a good enough image that I could simply go, yep, that's fine. I will print that. I will put that up in my home. I needed something there and then, something that would allow me to claw that time back that I would be spending editing photographs for family and events and other things. I really needed that, and that was an important reason for me, and reason number one. Reason number two is that I want to get back into street photography again. I've not shot street photography for years. I think the last time I went out purposefully will probably be back in 2019. Street photography really makes me happy. It calms me down, it de-stresses me, it allows me to unwind. It's probably the photography equivalent of going fishing. Literally, you're sitting there, you've got a coffee, you're completely chilled, and you're just people watching the world go by. And I absolutely love it, and I really miss it. So that was another thing I wanted to get back into, and this Fujifilm X100VI will give me the ability to do that. I have had an X100S in the past, and I adored that for street photography. It just wasn't very sharp, and the autofocus was terrible. But from what I've heard, the new range of X100s really do sort all that out. So that was another big reason for me wanting to make this switch. Probably the most important one, reason number three. We had a new baby. My daughter was born. And as we were getting ourselves ready to go to the hospital, I wanted to take pictures of the birth. I wanted to take a picture of my daughter coming into this world. So I got my Sonys together and I put the 24mm lens on the front and I thought, perfect, 24, f1.4. Let's go and take some awesome images, put it in the bag, get it ready. And then it occurred to me as I was putting it in the bag, I was like, this is really big. This is really heavy. This is a chunky beast. I can't be taking this into the delivery room. It is massive. Hold on right there. I will show you. Hold on, stay there. So, not even including the body, this. Look at that. See how chunky this is? Look at, I can't be taking, it's like a weapon. I can't be taking that into the delivery room. So I thought, that's okay. I will simply use the 35mm. And the 35mm is basically exactly the same size as this. So I'm thinking to myself, what can I do? I can't take this massive camera and this massive lens into the delivery room. There's going to be nowhere to put it. You know, you don't have any pockets. You've got a gown on. I was incredibly upset. I was really frustrated. And it occurred to me that the cameras I use for work really are just that. They're cameras for work. They're not cameras for me. They're not cameras for what I want and what I need when I'm not at work. The Sonys deliver stunning images and they are an absolute workhorse. But when I'm not at work, I don't want to feel like I'm at work. I want something small, something neat, something that takes great images of me and my family and things like the birth of my daughter. So, you know, I had this problem and there I was, incredibly disappointed. I had to take my phone in with me to the delivery room and I got some really lovely images of my daughter being born, but they weren't exactly what I wanted to capture. They weren't the visions I had in my head of what I wanted to take of my daughter being born and being held by her mum for the first time. And that was enough for me. I decided there and then that I needed something smaller, something more compact, and something I could take with me and just take images and be happy with what comes out without all the faff and without all the time of editing. I need something that just worked well, and in some cases worked really, really well to give me the images that I wanted pretty much there and then. And Fujifilm does that. And in this case for me, the X100VI. All the Fujifilm range will do that for you, but not all of them gave me the compact size, the quality, and a nice neat package that was really lovely to take photographs with. I want to fall back in love with photography, and working with the Sonys just isn't doing that. They're too good, they're too clinical, they're too perfect. And that to me kind of sucks the soul out of the whole process of taking photographs and being a part of the day. You're kind of taken out of the day because there's just so much to look at and so much to do and so many things to fiddle with. They really do take you out of the moment when you're taking images, and I just didn't want that. Let's talk about some of the cons from the swap I've made from the Sony a7 III full frame camera and the Sigma 35mm f1.4. I mean, because there's going to be quite a few cons here, and I understand that. I'm not crazy. Con number one, a full frame camera just gives you a nicer image. It really does. It has the ability to give you less image noise in low light. It gives you a greater sense of bokeh in the background, and what you can do with the depth of field is far better than what you can do with a crop sensor camera. I'm not going to get into the whole argument of bokeh this, bokeh that, and depth of field and everything, but it's a tool, and having the function there to do it, really, when you've got a tool and you use it to make money, having more features is better than having less features. Having better quality is better than having worse quality. It just is what it is. And that's just a fact you can't really deny. Whether you want it or don't want it, it's there. It is what it is. We kind of have to live with it. Full frame give you cleaner images at higher ISOs, and they give you better control of the depth of field. It's just a thing. Problem number two, I understand that f2 on a crop sensor camera like this is the depth of field of basically f3. I know that. You're going to get the light gathering of f2, which is great, but you're going to get the depth of field of f3, or, you know, so the equivalent on full frame would be kind of f2.8, f3.6, something like that. I understand it's not a like-for-like swap for the Sigma 32mm f1.4 that I had originally. For some people, it's going to be a major con. That's quite a big swap. So, you know, I'm gaining absolutely loads from a lighter system, but losing loads from light gathering and from depth of field control. So it remains to be seen whether I can put up with that. I think I'll be able to, but, you know, I'll come back here and let you know if it's a pain in the arse and whether I can live with it or not. Issue number three, will the sharpness compete with what I was used to before? The a7 III and the Sigma 35mm is quite a potent combination. It is capable of beautiful results and incredibly tack sharp images. There is a little bit of chromatic aberration here and there and slight bits of ghosting depending on where the sun is kind of facing. If it's going straight down the barrel, it can wash out a little bit, but, you know, for 99% of uses, it is tack sharp and it is a beautiful lens. So even though I'm gaining quite a lot of resolution, I could be losing quite a lot of detail as well. So fingers crossed, it's not too bad and I can put up with it. So let's wrap it up. I know this camera is going to work for me in terms of family photography, and for my own personal work, street photography, and just getting snaps of the kids, quick, simple, and just export the JPEGs and just get them printed. I know it's going to work for that. I've had Fujis in the past. They're beautiful. Their JPEGs are amazing just due to the raw rendering engine they have physically inside each and every one of the cameras. They're different to normal JPEG profiles. There is something more about them. So I know it'll work for that. But what remains to be seen is whether it can work for me in the wedding situations. I am going to be taking it to, well, when it turns up, I will be taking it to weddings. I will be seeing what it can do, and I'll be putting it through its paces to make sure it can replace that 35mm Sigma that I've lost. I know it went for depth of field, I know it went for light gathering, but fingers crossed it can do something incredibly similar, and I can still get what I need out of it on a wedding day. When I do use it for a wedding, I'll make sure to come back here and give you guys a rundown of the pros and the cons of using it in a wedding day situation, you know, the fast-paced wedding day, let you know what it did well, let you know what it didn't do very well, and probably give you my final answer on whether I'm going to be keeping it or not. I reckon I will be keeping it. Well, I hope I'm going to be keeping it. It's quite an expensive mistake if it's rubbish. I'm sure it'll be great. I'm sure it'll fit in with the rest of the Sony equipment I've got that I'll be using for wedding days, but I'll make sure to come back here and let you know the pros and cons. Thank you very much for listening. If you've got any questions, give me a shout. And yeah, wherever you are in the world, I love your face. Have a great day. Bye.